Okay, I understand. I do. I understand. I've been getting a lot of kickback lately that this approach I've been taking to spirituality is not well accepted and is not necessarily for everyone, and I agree that it is absolutely not for everyone. This idea that we have to make a definitive choice about something that we want. I was having an exceptionally enlightening conversation with someone on the channel, and and it was a good point. Her point was not it's not one size fits all spirituality, and we shouldn't be having one person say, a spiritual person saying the other person's wrong, because it does get old. I get it. I get it. I'm definitely one of those people where I'm like, all right, can we stop having everyone say that everyone else is wrong just so that they can put out content, just so that they can keep the fire going, just so that they can stoke the coal, so to speak. However, with that being said, that doesn't mean we throw out the baby with the bathwater. And I am, to my best ability, offering a very practical and logical explanation of why why natural law is misinterpreted, and why it is important to rectify that, and practical solutions to do that. For example, making a definitive decision on what you want, setting a goal firmly in the ground, and not be completely go with the flow, not being completely, it's all good, it doesn't matter what happens, I'm where I'm supposed to be. Because that is huge. Especially with the rise in Eastern philosophy like Buddhism, where it's like it doesn't matter, you shouldn't have any desires, and to a degree, I agree. But let me, like I said, let me beat a dead horse, if I will. Sorry, that's a very. I gotta find another. I'll find another one. I promise. It's a bad analogy. Anywho, maybe it's useful because maybe it is actually a dying horse, or maybe it does need to be that graphic to get the attention of the listener. Because hear me out. Um, the argument was, and it was a good one. Hey, sometimes people are in a point in their life where if they set their sight on something, they set their goals on something where it's going to be extremely detrimental to their health and it could cause more harm than good. That is a good point. However, when I asked, could you give me an example of that? Because it's a good one, and I agree. I can't think of a situation where that would be the case. Maybe you can. Leave a comment if you think that's the case. And it's like, can you give me an example where that's true? Can you give me an example where it would be a bad idea to set your sights on something? Because I do not believe in ultimatums, and I would agree that that's somewhere. But let's take a step back. The philosophy behind this, making a decision, a definitive decision for something to happen in the spiritual realm, in the spiritual community, in the world of manifestation, even if that manifestation is just, I want to manifest me being a better person, a more powerful person, at least power over my own actions and thoughts and willpower, etc., etc. The reason why I'm getting out there heavily with this concept is because there is truth. There is truth. Say it with me in the back. There is such thing as absolute truth, independent of my perceptions. And if you want to have this idea where there's no such thing as truth, where everything can be argued true if you're smart enough, if you're intelligent enough, then we exist in a world where something like mass unaliving people is okay as long as you can pitch it, as long as you can perceive it as being okay. And in fact, this is exactly how it happens. This idea that truth is in the eye of the beholder and perception is king is exactly the reason why the world is as dark as it is, because we can allow governments to do whatever they want to the people as long as the governments give a good reason. We can take away rights and liberties. We can tax people to hell. We can go fight wars. We can send our youth to die on foreign battlefields in the mud. We can throw high velocity lead from airplanes and just spray them all over the globe. For all we care, we can just sprinkle high velocity lead all over the world like we've been doing probably since the dawn of time. And those in power, because they have a good enough story via propaganda, etc., convince the majority that that is okay. because they have a good enough story and they're able to alter the perceptions of people to say, hey, what we're doing isn't bad. It's in fact good. Here's why. Here's why. And because they control the media, Medea, goddess of illusion, because they control the goddess of illusion, they have power over the goddess of illusion. Her name is Medea, and she's on your screen every day, in your books, in your newspapers, in your children's TV shows, and everything. Because it's there, you get implanted, you get impregnated with this thought in your subconscious mind, and it's fed and it's watered, and after a while, it becomes a truth. It becomes a truth, which is terrible, right? And so this is where I'm coming from. That heinous unfolding of circumstances that I just described in the past 85 seconds is why I'm really going heavy with this idea that truth exists and we need to stop going with the flow, that it is a terrible idea to just go with the flow. It is terrible. It is a terrible, do not go with the flow, do not go with the flow, do not go with the flow. I will say it 1,000 times so I'm blue in the face, and I know people will be upset with that because it's not easy. Because the easy way through spirituality, that's why everyone loves spirituality so much, because it's so much fluff and it's so light and it doesn't matter what happens, it's all good and it makes you feel good. Thank God, because it can get dark out there. It is dark out there. And a good way to cope with it is to just pretend like it doesn't exist. It's to pretend that no matter what happens, it's all good. And to a degree that's helpful, but it's not helpful in the long run, and it's why our world gets darker and darker. Or it's why our world at least stays the same and doesn't get brighter and brighter. And so that's where I'm coming from when I say, hey, we need truth. We need clarity this is why I say we need extreme clarity in what we want. Because when we have, talking in terms of manifestation, when we have extreme clarity in what we want, then good and bad, objectively speaking, is very clear. Now, I know I used a heinous example before, but now I will do a simple example, right? Something practical, something that makes sense, something that everyone can do in their everyday lives to start practicing both right and wrong. You say something like, okay, I want to lose 20 pounds, and I'm firm on it, despite how I feel, despite my emotions, despite how I want to convince myself in the moment that it is in fact a good idea to eat a cupcake at midnight because I earned it, because it was a stressful day, because it's just this one time, because it's vegan cupcake, because it's whatever, all the different ways we can use our perception to manipulate a situation to where it's okay to go against our will, right? Despite all that BS, we put a stake in the ground and we say, I want to lose 20 pounds. This is what I'm going to do to get there. Those things are, objectively speaking, a truth. And there's no way you can twist a situation for that to be a falsity. Right? When you have clarity in your goal, you now have clarity in truth, in right and wrong. That's why it's important to have clarity, because then you have clarity in right and wrong. If you have no goals, if you don't have nowhere to be, then all roads will get you there. If you have nowhere to be, all roads will get you there. Plain and simple. But if you have somewhere to be, if you are going to Texas and you want to get there as fast as you can, and you are in California, you cannot go west. You go east. Right? Plain and simple. If your goal is to get to Texas as fast as possible, your goal is to go east from California, not west. Plain and simple. We can say, okay, well, unless you're walking to Texas, if you go east, and flying to Texas if you go west, then sure, take a plane. But the goal is still to get to Texas as fast as possible, right? See how the world collapses around you? This is utilizing logic. This is utilizing the masculine side of the brain, which is the counter to the passive. It's the counter to the go with the flow. Okay? But they both should be used in tandem. The masculine sets up the definitive. This is making your decision. The definitive, I want to get to this place. That is the masculine. And you hold that, so you now know what your truth is. You now know what your north node is. That's your star you're gonna follow. Now, how it unfolds is the feminine. The how is an unimaginable An unimaginably large smorgasbord of happenings, of circumstances, of chance meetings, of serendipitous moments that are going to get you there. That's the feminine. That's the go with the flow. That's I'm going to get 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, you might say. Hey, I want to start a spiritual YouTube channel. I want to start a whatever YouTube. I'm going to get 100,000. How that unfolds? Oh, you a chance meeting with this person. Oh, you got an email from, I would have never thought I would have partnered with that person to do a video. Oh, now I'm networking. Now I met this person. Oh my God. Who would have thought that all these incredible things would have unfolded along the way to my 100,000 subscribers that I was trying to get? No one could know. You can't know. That is the infiniteness of existence. That's the feminine. That's the power. That's the beauty. That's the depth of the feminine, is that it's just pure potential, and it bubbles in and out of existence like a geyser, like a never-ending geyser, just spewing possibilities all over the place, and it's your job to make sense, to make art with that infinite spewing of water into the world, and you make art with that, and you make something out of it. But unless your mind is set, unless you know the direction you're going, what kind of art are you gonna make? You have all these serendipitous moments. You have all these coincidences that are popping up, and how are you supposed to make sense of any of it if you don't have a goal? You know, it's like someone hands you a hammer and a nail, and you're like, okay, well, I don't have anything to build. How am I supposed to make something? Well, oh, that's right. I'm making a chair. Okay, now if you're making a chair, now when wood shows up, you're gonna go, oh, I've got wood for that chair. Oh, I've got that hammer and nail. Oh man, I just built myself a chair. Sweet. But if your goal was never to build a chair, and now you got wood, you're gonna look at the wood and be like, "Oh, I guess I'll light it on fire. Like, what am I gonna do? What am I supposed to do with all these things that pop up in my life?" And that's how serendipitous moments work. That's how the magic of synchronicity works. Is that literally everything in your life can be a synchronistic moment if you know how to look for it, if you're conscious and you're aware enough to notice it, and you have a goal of what to do with your life. That's all it is. If your decision one day is to lose weight, and you focus on that, and you meditate on that, and you try to tap into the etheric to get that, serendipitous moments are going to come up for you to lose weight. If it's to buy a house, buy a car, find a partner, find the love of your life, find a soulmate, get rid of a soulmate, find a twin flame, get rid of a twin flame. You know, as soon as you set your sights on something, and you'll know this if you've been really strict on manifestation, you want to script something out. I noticed this in scripting. You write out what you want as a spell or something, and you focus real hard on it. Things start to pop up. You start to get little hiccups, little blips of, that's been there this whole time, but I've never seen it in this light. Oh, now that cat on the corner is now glowing. That cat wasn't glowing yesterday. Did you guys notice that cat glowing yesterday? That thing wasn't glowing yesterday, was it? That cat is glowing today. I wonder where that cat. I'm gonna go talk to that cat on the corner. Homeboy be glowing all of a sudden. That's how it works. You set your goal on something, you set clarity on something, and now you can make sense of the serendipitous moments because you know what truth is. And truth is a big word, but truth in a smaller sense is like go left instead of right. The truth is go talk to that cat on the corner. It's glowing all of a sudden because you've set your psyche, you've set that masculine mind on something you want to make manifest, and boom. Now the world lights up. Then we can let go. That's Anubis. Everyone say what up to Anubis parking over there. He is in agreement. Anubis is in agreement. I don't know, you guys. Like I said, it's not an ultimatum. I'm not saying that this is that you always have to have something set in stone at all times. You have to if you want something to get done, but sometimes we don't want something to get done. Sometimes we want to just exist. I get that. I've been in the existence stage for the past decade where I just want to can I just breathe air? Can I just breathe air for the next 7 days? Hey, does anyone want to just breathe in air and drink water with me? That's my goal. I would just like to drink some water and breathe some air and I don't know, hug a dog or something. I get that. And that is rest, that is respite, that is why we sleep. Right? That is why we lose consciousness of things, because sometimes it's too much and we need to reboot. I get that. So maybe that's what the person was referring to when she said that, it's not always like that, Keith. Sometimes to have strict goals and stuff like that is to the detriment of the individual. Maybe that's the case. That's the case. But that doesn't mean we stay there. You know, if someone is battling crippling depression or crippling anxiety, at least the goal would be to get rid of that. You know what I mean? We can change goals. And a big part of this, what I'm trying to teach people, is we got to make a decision for something to happen, because even if it's the wrong decision, because no decision is worse than a wrong decision. At least in a wrong decision, we learn something. At least in a wrong decision, we see the outcome of our thoughts and our actions. Right? We say, I want this to happen. Oh, it turned out that was actually a bad choice. Okay, well, look what I was able to accomplish with my mind and body. Even though I went in the wrong direction, I still achieved what I set out to achieve. Did I not? Great. I have power. I have the power over my life. Wonderful. The neighbors are washing clothes over here. Everyone say hello to the neighbors. This is another household behind this wall. Anywho, that's where we're at. That's all I mean to say. That's all I mean to say. Like, I'm teaching natural law on this channel, you know what I mean? This is stuff that we can see out in the world with ease by just looking out there and just observing what's going on around us. We can see that polar opposites exist. We can see that there is a passive energy out there and an active energy out there, a masculine and a feminine, an ebb and a flow, a give and a take, again, a masculine and a feminine. We can see that with relative ease out there. We can see correspondence. We can see vibration. We can see how our thoughts manipulate the external world. We see that through physics, through resonance. It's all out there. I'm not saying anything new. I'm just trying to reorient thought, because I know everyone in the spiritual community wants ease, but planet Earth, humanness is not about ease, you guys. This isn't about ease. It's about growth. It's about overcoming obstacles. You know, it's about choosing our cross. I'm not sure who says that, but choosing our cross to bear. I'm not necessarily religious, but I do like the thought of everyone bears a cross. Jesus chose his cross, which was the actual cross. But we all have our crosses to bear, and we can choose that, or we can have it chosen for us. We can think that a life of ease is what we want, but a life of ease is actually a life of burden, because you do not learn valuable life skills when you have an easy life. You don't. So because you can't avoid hardship. This is my point. You can't avoid hardship. So to avoid, to always aim for ease means you never develop skills, you never develop character traits, you never develop the power of overcoming obstacles. So when an obstacle does hit you, you're screwed. People who have tough lives growing up handle lives better as an adult if they're able to integrate their shadow. This is why integrating shadows is so important, and this is why people with really dark pasts, when the shadow is properly integrated, make the best poets, the best musicians, the best artists, the best CEOs, the best leaders, because in the youth of their life, they learned so much through tribulation that it developed their character. Not saying that everyone needs to be just thrown through the ringer as a child, because, you know what I mean, children need to be children. That's a whole nother conversation. Point being, we cannot avoid ease. We cannot avoid ease. As much as the spiritual community wants to just everything to be loving and free-flowing, it should be. I'm down for it. I will be when we have a Hobbit party, when we have a Shire party, your boy is going to be the one to throw it. I promise you that. I will throw the party, no shoes allowed. I'll have fires. We'll have homemade pumpkin ale going. We'll have cake and pastries and shit. We'll be dancing and music and merrymaking. It will be ease and grace, baby. I am all about it. But I understand that ease and grace come from strong humans. You know how they say strong men create peaceful times create weak men, and weak men create hard times, and then hard times create strong men, and the cycle goes on and on. That's what we have to understand. And I feel like spiritual community might be a little soft. I could be wrong. I don't think so, because the spiritual community is always soft. I mean, think about this is anecdotal, so don't judge me too hard, especially if you're doing this. I do it on my meditation videos, but a lot of the spiritual teachers out there are really soft, and they talk really slow, and it's all at ease, which is good. Like that has its space, because Our nervous systems have to chill. Like, I get it. Like I'm saying, I listen to those. But I don't find the opposite in the spiritual community. I don't find people coming in hot on in a loving way, coming in hot on others in the spiritual community. Or at least I'm hard pressed to find it. Or at least I haven't seen it done in a way that resonates with me. I'm sure there's people out there killing it. Like I'm saying, it's anecdotal. I'm speaking from a very limited mind view at the point, so don't judge me too hard. But I'm talking passively speaking. I started my spiritual journey in like 2010, really. It's been 15 years on this path. And what I'm preaching here, more or less, wasn't explained to me. Not in tandem with spirituality. It was explained to me in tandem with like motivational or like psychology or CEO thoughts. I started a couple businesses, so this is really alpha, really masculine and really aggressive, really fiery energy. I get that, and when it's unbalanced, has its own pitfalls that are just as detrimental as the opposite side's pitfalls, right? So I'm not saying we need that all the time. I'm saying we need them both. We need them balanced. We need the masculine and feminine. We need our masculine aspects to be strong enough and savvy enough to assert ourselves in the direction that we want. And our willpower, which is also an aspect of the masculine, to be so strong that we don't allow our emotions and feelings to get in the way of what we want. And then we need to be in tap with our feminine side enough to where we can be aware to the infinite possibilities within the container that we have set up for ourselves. Think of it as the masculine sets up the four walls of the house and the feminine fills it with plants, with flowers, with loving energy, with serendipitous moments. And then when we blend the harmony of those two together, we get a beautiful mansion. This is sort of what we see with man and woman, how it unfolds. Women tend to be dominated by the feminine. Men tend to be dominated by the masculine. And when you come together in marriage, you create an oversoul. Like we learned that from Napoleon Hill. We create a type of oversoul. They join together, and there is a soul of the man, the soul of the woman. And between them, there is a separate, sentient, sovereign soul that's a combination of them both. A summation of them both. It's like the yin and yang symbol. Imagine the yin and yang symbol. It's beautiful. This is how this stuff happens. I love it. This is why we study natural law. This is why we're diving into alchemy. This is why we're diving into hermetics. This is why we're diving into, the things that we dive into. It's so dope. It's so dope. I tend to be impatient. That might be the Aries side, or is that the Aquarius rising? One of you astrologers help me. Is Aquarius? Nah, Aries is the young one, right? The impatient one. I see so much potential and so much possibility out there, and it makes me sad that it doesn't come to fruition, that it just remains. There's this Devil Makes Three song called Graveyard of Dreams, and because you go to a graveyard and you imagine how many dead dreams there are that died with the people, and it's just, this is a graveyard of dreams. It's just very visceral. It's very like, oh man, imagine if you were to die today, like all the dreams that would die with you. Anywho, what do you guys think? I'm curious. Is there a better way I can phrase this or I can pitch this to where it's, I don't mind triggering people, because that's sort of how it works, right? You trigger, Bilbo Baggins was triggered when all the dwarves showed up to his house, because, you guys don't know Lord of the Rings. Bilbo Baggins was a hobbit, and hobbits like neat, nice, tidy things. And dwarves are not neat. They can be, but they're kind of rugged. They're a little rough around the edges. So they come in, they eat all his food, they make a mess, they're loud, obnoxious, they're singing and shit. Gandalf's over there, bumping his head on stuff, breaking glasses, and Bilbo's like, what is going on, dude? This is insane. The point the author was trying to make in there was that you had this really nice, comfy hobbit in his nice, comfy, warm hobbit hole with his cheese and his wine. And he just wanted nothing but peace and comfort and quiet. And in come these dirty, loud dwarves making a ruckus. And he's like, leave me alone. And he gets pulled on this adventure where he's no longer comfy. He's cold. He's being chased by cave trolls. He almost dies like 4 times. He finds this magical ring, and it turns out this magical ring just poisons his soul every time he puts it on, so it just corrupts him and he just turns into like a crackhead. And it just totally triggering. The point, what was my point? Sorry. The point is, he was triggered. He was triggered because it wasn't something he was used to, and the Gandalf is like the oversoul. The Gandalf sees the play between the comfy and the dirty, and he smiles because he knows what's going on. The Hobbit is teaching the dwarves how to be respectful, kind, mannered, how to have good tasting food and be proper, and the dwarves are telling the Hobbit that he needs to chill out and not be so high-strung and live a little. But there was triggering that needed to be happened, so I'm happy with triggering people, if that was what my rant was about. My name is Keith. If you guys are new and made it this far, wow, good on ya. You have to subscribe after that. And if you guys are some of the old squad, thank you for being here. Thank you for the continued support. Everyone leave a comment and hit the like button so we can feed the algorithm beast, okay? Also, I think that's it. I'll see you guys soon then.